Hi there, and welcome back to Math Mr. G. I'm here for my fourth grade students at the Syracuse Academy of Citizenship. Today we're going to be talking about three different kinds of angles: right angles, obtuse angles, and acute angles. But we're going to be looking at how we can find right angles in common things around the house and in our lives, and how we can compare those right angles to determine things that might be acute or things that might be obtuse. So a really good example in just our common daily lives and in our schoolwork of a right angle is a sheet of paper. So a sheet of paper is created as a rectangle, and every corner of it is a right angle. It's a perfect 90 degrees. And if you ever have to compare angles, this is a really good tool that you can use on hand that are right angles. And if you have to measure some smaller angles in this, you can simply just fold this evenly, like so. So I make sure all my lines are matched up. And you can fold like a hamburger or a hot dog, it doesn't matter which. But so long as the edges meet, you can create more right angles, like this one right here. That way you have maybe even just a smaller instrument to do that with. Of course, rulers, and if you have a protractor, are all good examples of angles, and especially right angles. Today we're going to go over just a couple examples of those. So if you have a whiteboard, a marker, a pencil, or paper, please grab those now to go over them. Okay, so we're first going to draw right angles. A right angle right here, and right angles are often determined by points or lines. Today we're going to do just a single point here at the end, and I'll draw that in. So right about here, and then I can draw my right angle from there. So just like I mentioned earlier, right angles create a perfect 90 degrees. So I'm going to do my absolute best on my whiteboard here to create that. So I'm going to draw a straight line up and a straight line to the right. And that's pretty close to a 90-degree angle. Another way you can tell a 90-degree angle is that there will be a little square in the bottom corner of it, like this. That tells you this is a square angle, which means also 90 degrees. So I'm going to write in this is 90 degrees. I'm going to name this point as well. So name this point A, and this is 90 degrees. So degrees is just, of course, the measure we use to determine how many degrees this is put apart here. So for instance, 90 degrees is here. If this was completely flat, it would be either 0. If it was a flat line all the way this way, 180, kind of like a clock. But that's the best unit we have to measure the different kinds of angles. So now we're going to draw an obtuse angle. So I'm going to first put my point in, like so. I'm going to grab my line tool and start from that point. I'm going to first draw a nice straight line down here. And I'm going to draw a line coming this way. So it's almost like this opens up from this point. It opens up like this, almost like a hand on a clock moving. And that's the inner part of this is how we measure the degrees. And you can tell because there'll usually be this symbol right here. I'm going to name this B. And we're going to say since this is 90, it's going to be more than that. I'm going to say this is 135 degrees. And now I'm going to draw an acute angle. I'm going to put my point in first. And then I'm going to draw my lines. Again, I'm going to start with this bottom straight line here, and then draw a smaller one here to match it. And just like before, we open up from this bottom line, so I'm going to draw my line to signify that this is an angle right here. We'll name this C, and we'll say that this angle is about 15 degrees. So if you don't have a protractor at home, what can you do to determine if something's obtuse or acute? Because you can't really determine that these are exactly these degrees. I just put these numbers in here as an example of what they very well could be because I don't have a protractor on this whiteboard. What we can do to determine at least just something if it's obtuse or acute, you can use your piece of paper or you can use any kind of straight edge with a right angle at the end of it to see if it's larger, obtuse, or smaller, acute. So I'm going to type these notes in here for you just underneath it. So this is always 90 degrees. We'll say actually exactly 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is greater than 90 degrees, and an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. On Zearn, they'll have a protractor available inside of the program itself to help you start learning how to measure these degrees more accurately, and you'll be doing that in the following lessons for quite a while. But in terms of doing it in person, if you don't have a protractor, any kind of straight edge like I showed you before with your paper is a really good way to determine if it's at least obtuse or acute or a right angle to get started with your measuring. I hope you guys have a good idea with this. If you don't, please rewatch this video and I'll go through all the steps. Like anything in math, the more we do this, the more we'll understand it, and we'll be looking into these degrees in greater depth as we move forward, as well as in Zearn. I look forward to seeing your work, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.